It's really crazy when you find people trying to compare Black Americans and other people. It doesn't matter whoever it is, be it African, be it Asians, be it anybody, right? People always tend to want to compare Black Americans with other people. You'd be like, oh, Black Americans are not making so much money in America like Africans. Black Americans are not making so much money like Jamaicans. They're not, for me, it's really weird. You can't compare Black Americans with anybody, any of the minorities in America. Ask me why and I'll tell you. Do you know why? These people built that country. Despite pain, despite torture, with their lives, it cost them everything. It cost them family, it cost them a lot. Yet they built a whole country that today is being respected as the #1 in the world. Now, why do I say that? Imagine Black Americans didn't go through these things. They didn't go through this systemic slavery. Theirs was really harsh. Go and read about Black history and find out what these people went through. Is it the segregation, the redlining, Jim Crow, and all of them? If these people never went through any of this, to be honest, nobody on earth will compare themselves with Black Americans. These people are still the world's superpower. For me, it doesn't matter. Anybody can come to the country and decide to do 10 jobs, 20 jobs. It doesn't matter. The thing is, were they the ones who built it? No. They came into a country that was already built, and then they are now trying to compare themselves with the people who built it, which is pure foolishness. Anyways, just watch these videos. I'll be back with the commentaries.
One thing I'm happy about this administration showing is showing white people how Black people have been felt. Y'all was saying we were conspiracy theorists. Y'all was saying we were victims. We always want to be victims when we were telling y'all our history, right? And now y'all going through all these rabbit holes and y'all actually looking at the legislation like, wow, why can't we progress as a country? And then you're seeing that every single piece of legislation that's held us back from progressing in technology or education is literally because of racism and misogyny. It's literally because they don't want their women out here mingling with minority men. It's literally because they don't want their kids going to college and getting quote unquote woke. It's literally because they don't want to be in a workplace with us. They don't want to be in our presence. Y'all are seeing this now, right? The reason that we don't have universal health care, racism. Every single piece. China has been, the past 30 years have been flying past us in technology. We could have been on this, but we haven't because of racism and the lack of education. And they're attacking intellectualism because they think it's making people woke. From a young age, little black boys are told, 5 years old, hey, I know you're a little boy, but these people are going to look at you as a man now. You have to learn how to respect authority. By 10 years old, we're told that slavery didn't end because of any type of moral compass that these people had. It ended because of an economic standpoint that some people in the North were saying that we were going to have our downfall. During Reconstruction, we could have kept progressing, but the racism in our country is stronger than our progression. It's always held us back. We could have had FDR literally reconstructing our whole country, but no, the racists would not allow it. Not for too long. I mean, we got Barack Obama as president when I was in the 8th grade. By the time 2012 came, the Republicans were funding Turning Point USA because they said they got the youth. We need to indoctrinate the youth. These people are becoming too woke at these college campuses. And we need to indoctrinate the youth. Turning Point USA, $12 million behind it. Billionaires. Billionaires are funding legislation to have us move backwards in a country just because they don't want the progression of minorities. They don't want the progression of women. And we keep on telling y'all this. Every single piece of legislation that's holding us back is because of racism. And now y'all are finally going down these little rabbit holes. You're having your little woke up moment and you're going down this history lessons and you're saying, wow, this is crazy. We've been told this our whole life. We've been told that every single piece from the state level all the way up, from the county level, from redlining. We're talking about economics. We're talking about loans. We're talking about just owning homes. We're talking about getting educated on the stock market. Everything that we could be educated on more, we're held back because of racism and misogyny. They hate women and they hate minorities. I'm talking about just the basic civil liberties that people just are asking to have. Y'all are now seeing that, hey, wow, this was never about the price of eggs, huh? Yeah. This was never about conservative values. This was never about the Bible. This was never about loving thy neighbor. This was about hate from the jump. And I think you all are finally seeing it, that we're not victims. We're not always playing the victim. We're actually, the fact that we're actually still resilient after all of these years, when we could really be getting a lot worse. And we keep on progressive. And the fact that black women are leading the demographics and the most educated, and black men are more and more getting educated and going to trade school and going to college now, they hate it. We're actually progressing. Every single time you look up, we're progressing. And they don't like that. Because a white man should be able to go to state college because his father went there and his father donated to the college and he got him through college after he cheated through school, and he should be able to get a job at an entry level at a big financial firm, right? But the black woman went out and got a double bachelor's, a master's degree, and sometimes even a doctorate just to get the same job and get paid less. And now they're saying that they're not qualified. Now y'all seeing, y'all going down these rabbit holes, y'all looking like, wow, what do they mean they're not qualified? I'm looking at their qualifications. They look qualified. They got the experience, they got the internships, they got the education. They come from the neighborhoods, they come from the communities, they come from the county that they're trying to represent, and they still saying that they're not qualified. Are y'all paying attention? There's black men swinging from trees in the South in 2025, and y'all said that racism was over. Are y'all paying attention now? I don't think y'all was paying attention before. I just thought, you know what I'm saying? You know? Political leaders, Democratic political leaders, they ran in their house and unalived them in cold blood, and no national news was saying a fucking word. But the Turning Point guy that got funded by the billionaires to indoctrinate the youth for the Republican Party get hit in the neck, and now what? Erica Kirk was in them pageants. Now y'all seeing it. Oh, they just conspiracy theorists. Erica Kirk was in them pageants, them Trump pageants. It's all coming together now. Everything's adding up. Those files are coming out. Another billionaire in New York, a finance billionaire, just got caught up torturing women in his building. It's all coming out. These people are pigs. They're racist. They're misogynist. They love little girls. They love little boys. The groypers, every single one of them are disgusting. I think we need to separate the country because I don't want to live with them no more.
So there's a lot of talk about immigrants just coming over here and doing so much better than black Americans. First of all, they compare us to everybody. They put us in a pot with everybody. Y'all comparing us against a bunch of different people from different countries and different ethnic backgrounds. We are one group of people from one country. Let's start there. Comparing us to Ethiopians, Kenyans, Nigerians, Jamaicans, Bohemians, Middle Easterns, Egyptians, the Ukrainians, motherfucking blood clot, Japanese, Asians, Chinese, like that's absolutely insane. Let's just start there. Second of all, we've faced systemic racism in this country. I think this goes over a lot of you all's head. We've literally been economically disenfranchised. Y'all really don't understand because you have not gone through it. You, with your immigrant self, you were able to come into a system where you have rights, you have certain freedoms and liberties that you are afforded and awarded because of the plight and the fight of black Americans. You didn't have to fight for anything. And because of your immigrant status, you already come in with a clean slate. A lot of you will identify as a pale face on your documentations. You have a clean bill of credit. your social security or whatever type of EIN, whatever type of number you're using, it's not the same. We literally are just playing by a different set of rules. And I'm gonna let this Claire woman explain it to you. It's a little lengthy, so grab your popcorn, stick around. But I'm about to stitch this, and we're gonna listen to the whole thing because she breaks it down very well, and y'all tend to listen to them more than y'all listen to us. So listen to this. Hold up, I'll be right back.
It's systemic racism. You're looking at trends that have affected the wealth gap between the races historically in the United States. This is not about a person being a racist or your grandma being a racist. It has to do with what the economy looked like for white persons and black persons historically in this country. Back during the time of the Civil War, the white folks had 56 times more wealth on average than a black person. So it was 56 to 1. Just 10 years later, in 1870, after Reconstruction, that gap went from 56 to 1 to 23 to 1. Yep. Pretty dramatic improvement in 10 years. The reason for that market improvement is that while black people were now allowed to purchase land and assets, so black wealth was going up, simultaneously white wealth was coming down because what was a huge part of their wealth?
Slavery.
Slaves. Human beings that they were no longer allowed to own. By 1900, the gap had closed all the way to 11 to 1. The average white person had 11 times more wealth than the average black person. And then it stalled out. And the reason it stalled out is because black people were still being discriminated against. They didn't have the same access to credit, if any access to credit. Legislative attempts at narrowing the gap were shot down, at trying to finish narrowing the gap were shot down, like the 40 acres and a mule thing that never got passed. They faced widespread discrimination in education. The schools were still segregated and they weren't getting the best funding and they weren't getting the best teachers. They were discriminated against in the workforce. Now from 1900, when it was 11 to 1 to 1960, over 60 years, the gap squeezed a little bit smaller to 8 to 1. So for every black family that had $10,000 in total assets, the average white family had 80,000 in total assets. Okay. And how do we go from 11 to 1 to 8 to 1? Well, a couple things happened. FDR made it illegal to discriminate against black workers, but only for purposes of the military and government positions. But still, every little bit helps. And then also you had World War I and World War II. So many white men left the American workforce that black men were finally able to start moving up into higher paid positions. That doesn't mean they were paid the same as the white person who had previously done that job, but they were being paid more than they were previously, and they were getting access to higher skilled work. So then by the 1980s, the gap had closed to 5 to 1. And what was helping close the gap? Civil rights that had taken place between 1965 and 1980. Fair Housing Act, federal minimum wage that did not discriminate. So those things were helping close that gap just a little bit. So that takes us up to 1980. But what has happened in the last 45 years? We were at 5 to 1 gap. How much have we closed since then? None. In the last 45 years, we've gone backwards. So we are now at a 6 to 1 gap. The average white family has 6 times more wealth than the average black family. And why is that happening? Well, because wealth compounds. It's not just about who has the ability to earn X salary. It's that the white families were starting with more wealth, more property, more stocks, bonds, etc. And they're able to compound that wealth. Whereas if the black and brown populations are starting without those assets, they don't have the ability to compound. They end up having to spend what they earn. They have to consume the majority of the income that they're earning just to sustain a living.
And through all of that, you all still are not doing better than us. You're not. We have millionaires, billionaires, people that are making high 6 figures, people that are making low 6 figures, people that are college educated. We've gone through the gauntlet. And a lot of what we've gone through, you all were actually able to hijack our civil rights movement and turn it into an immigration movement. So you should be thanking us instead of trying to compete and compare, because we've been in this country since the inception and we've continuously fought. We've continuously built. We've continuously, honed in on our skill sets. What the hell have y'all been doing in y'all's country that you all govern? Y'all ain't been living side by side, neck with oppressors that's literally been trying to unalive you for centuries. Yet you have to come here to piggyback off of our accomplishments of black Americans, the ones that y'all love to look down on and talk down on. You have to migrate here and then slap us in the face and say, we built the country. Y'all ain't ish. Why y'all not doing this? Why y'all ain't doing that? As if systemic racism wasn't a thing, as if some of those policies and some of those ideologies are not still in full effect in 2025. Spread is the Brooklyn way.
Okay, let me make something abundantly clear because I'm starting to really understand where all of this is coming from with this whole, those two, we've all seen it by now, the two podcasts with the two African girls were, talking about Black Americans being, all the Africans think Black people are lazy in America and we don't work, and, Africans are up here and Black Americans are down here, and
and guess what? We're right here, and y'all are still here.
There's a lot of grants in
Black Americans, how much longer? I mean, you guys have had 400 years to come up and you guys still haven't come up, which is completely retarded because we didn't spend 400 years as free people. But that's not what I'm here to talk about. Obviously this conversation is very divided. You got African people like this person who said that they approve of that message that those girls were talking about, and other ones who don't. You got ones who are trying to gaslight me and say that, well, why are we always the ones starting this division, and why are we bringing this up, or why are we comparing ourselves to them when in the video the girls were comparing themselves to us? Like, come on. But let me just say this, and I'm not trying to be disrespectful at all, but the truth be told is, you guys, there is not one Black nation on this earth, okay, not even one, that is a first world nation. Every single nation that is full of Black people on this planet is is a third world country full of Black people who are impoverished, who barely have decent, most of the country is not developed. There's barely any infrastructure. Most of the people are poor. Most of the people really just don't have access to good education and things like that. And that is just the God honest truth. And once again, no disrespect, but I really feel like the reason why a lot of you guys will look at the people and the Black people who are in the Caribbean, and you will have more in common with them because, and you won't make them say, okay, they're African Caribbeans or they're African Jamaicans or African Haitians, but we're not really from America. The reason why you guys are saying that is because those people are from countries that look very similar to yours. Those people are living in a country full of Black people, full of black and brown folks that are extremely impoverished, that have slums completely all over their nation. And that is more relatable to you. I mean, let's just be real. That's more relatable to you. The idea that a Black person or a person who is of African ancestry could be from a first world country is just like unfathomable to a lot of you guys. And I really don't like to accuse people of jealousy because I really feel like I don't really like to use the word. I feel like, anybody can be envious of different things that different people have, right? But the same colonialism that has crushed your societies as Black nations around the world is the same colonialism, the same colonizers that have put a boot on our necks here in America. And a lot of you guys just don't know our history, and it just is what it is. But you can't just come over here with all of these assumptions and say, okay, well, you guys have had 400 years. Why can we come over here in the last 30 years and make it? Well, the only reason why you can come over here is because after slavery ended and Jim Crow ended, our people busted their butts to make life easier for colored people, for Black people. And you would, and nobody of color would even be able to be over here if it were not for those sacrifices. And let me just say this. Of course, there's gonna be ghettos here in America too. There's probably ghettos in the UK. Okay. Everybody's not gonna be successful. Some people really are just lazy, right? If all of your people came over here, if all of the African people came over here, I bet you some of them are going to be in the ghettos and they're going to be in there for the rest of their life. Some people just don't have the get up. I don't care if they're from a first world country or not. Everybody's not going to make it. So don't try to put all of these unrealistic expectations onto our people as a whole, as if we're some sort of like monolith or this just be like as if we are just living in heaven and everything is just so easy. It just does not work like that. You know, I've said this before and I'll say it again. America is not lollipop land. You still got to have a certain amount of grind and get up about yourself to make shit happen here. And some people just don't have that. I don't care if they're American, if they're British, if they're African, if they're Caribbean. I don't care. Some people just ain't got it. It's a lot of us that do got it, and we are doing very well for ourselves. And there's some of us who just don't. And that's just what it is. So my thing is, y'all, I'm not really trying to fight back and forth with Africans and Caribbeans. Like, I'm really not trying to fight with you guys about this, but it's like, respect me and I'll respect you. But don't come over here with disrespect, okay? And then expect love and respect in return, okay? We're only going to give you back what you give us first. And as Black Americans, we don't have no kind of chill. We'll go from 0 to 1,000 on your ass real quick. Okay, the same way that we check the white folks, we gonna check your black ass.
And I'm West African, Nigerian, but I was born in Nebraska, Lincoln, Nebraska. My father went to school there. I have video on my Instagram, comedian Godfrey, by the way. But it's the truth, because if you ever remember the movie Sugar Hill,
yep,
and there's a scene where they're doing the thing with the drug dealer, and the guy said, "We can't work with Akata. We can't work with Akata." That's a word that they were calling the American blacks, Akata, the Nigerians. Akata is a word that they use for American blacks. And Wesley Snipes was like, "Yo, what is this Akata shit you keep calling us?" And the guy goes, "We don't want to work with cotton pickers." And then Wesley beats the shit out of them. But it's the truth. So African Americans and Africans have always had friction. You know what I'm saying? But Africans, and I know some Africans are going to probably be like, "I don't like what you..." Man, whatever.
People were upset over this clip. This clip started to go viral on Twitter.
Why are they getting upset at that clip? First of all, it's the truth. Africans come to America, and there's a lot of my African-American friends say, man, a lot of Africans are really mean towards us. They're really nasty towards us because they feel they're better towards us. And I think it's the wrong attitude to take, because I'm West African, but I was born here. My friends are African-American and African. I think it's fucked up, because here's the thing. Africa, like whether you say Nigerians or Ethiopians, whatever, we were colonized by Europeans, man. We were colonized. We were treated like shit. Look at South Africa. With all the Dutch, they've shit on South Africans, man. And finally, I think South Africans, with the help of Julius Malema and all these, they're trying to take some of their shit back. Dutch people are fucked up towards fucking black Africans. And the fact that a South African, a white South African calls himself African, to me, is fucking ridiculous. Like, you're Dutch. You just didn't leave. How the fuck do you steal African from somebody? How do you go... Listen, if I was born in China, Vlad, and I said I'm Chinese, I've lived there my whole life, would you believe me? Would you believe that I was Chinese if I said, listen, and I even have the accent, listen, I'm Chinese, I promise, I've been there all my life. Would you believe me?
Yes, I would.
You would say, I'm Chinese. You would believe I was Chinese. You wouldn't say, hey, you're a black dude. You just happen to be a Chinese.
Third generation Chinese.
No, I was like, no, what if I lived there all my life, I'm Chinese. I go, ni hao, and I speak Taola.
You consider yourself American?
But what you would believe I was Chinese, though?
Well, I believe you're American.
Would you say I'm black first? Would you look at me as a black man first? I was like, if
you never open your mouth, first
I didn't open my mouth and I'm sitting here like this,
I would first see you as a black person.
You would say there's a black guy.
And then you would open your mouth and I
go, you wouldn't believe that shit. You'd be like, there's
Chinese black guy.
There's a black dude doing some Chinese shit. I don't know what the fuck that was. But it's like when white South Africans, that's not even real. You're not even genetically an African. The fuck? You don't even live amongst the black ones. It's that same mentality that Africans have when they come to, and I've had relatives, man, I'm not going to name them. I've had relatives go, oh, we're better than African Americans. I go, no, we're not. Because I was just stopped by the police the other day. And I'm going to tell you, I used to try to use that African accent. You know what I mean? When police stop me, I say, I'm sorry, officer, what is the problem? I am not the same as them. You know what I'm saying? Listen, I'm not going to act like, of course there's a slight cultural difference when you're African, because you know what it is? In Africa, usually they'll show African Americans in a certain light. So Africans will have African.
Yeah.
We a little different when it comes to stage presence. Now in America,
in words.
Wobbling, pants hanging half down, bored as hell, half asleep because they high as hell on stage. But Africa, we wake up morning like look at these YouTube clips of all these kids from Uganda and how they be. You know what I'm saying? Like these kids are performers. Like so, for us, it comes natural. You know, like to watch the kids from.
For this new year, we're not engaging in none of these diaspora wars to perpetuate the pale supremacist idea of divide and conquer, because that's exactly what Akon, you feel me, start to engage in. Akon just engaged in anti-black pathology that makes black people look like buffoons, and he did it while using African-American vernacular English, which is kind of funny. Now, could Akon have talked about the great performance of the Africans in Uganda without putting down the Africans in America? Yes. This is a screenshot of Akon's first hit single entitled Locked Up, literally conceptualizing the prison industrial complex and how it uniquely impacts African Americans. Not only that, has built an entire career off the backs of black culture here in America. So when I start talking about not engaging in diasporic wars, is being able to make an analysis that does not perpetuate pale supremacy in a way that comes at the expense of our fellow individuals or other members in the African diaspora. Huey P. Newton said that we have to think globally and act locally. And what I know from thinking globally is that this little narrative he's concocted about African Americans being high and drunk and having our pants being down and over there, that same narrative is weaponized against Nigerians when it came to SARS. We see how when you start to deploy these anti-black pathologies about what you feel like is what black folks doing in America, it also impacts black people throughout the diaspora. Ever since Akon got this little toupee hair transplant, he been acting real different. Convict Music is the name of his record label. And as you see, the literal logo of his record label is an appropriation of the American abolition symbol. It was almost like he's trying to give us a little authenticity test for how African we is, talking about it's natural for them, like it's not natural for us. Come on now, we don't do that. Growing up, I listened to this album. So much love you make. Listen to it, Mama Africa, Mommy Africa. I mean, use hip hop, a uniquely African-American cultural product, to literally line his pockets and give him cultural capital to make it what people is interviewing him. He used that influence to then denigrate African-American culture and see us through the same lens that the pales see us as. What does it mean to only be able to see your people through the eyes of the colonizer? I would argue that a lot of the ways that diasporic wars happen, anti-blackness gets deployed in multiple ways, and I hope, let me know in the comment section, was this video anti-black and calling them out for being anti-black? Let me know.
So many foreigners will come to this country and look down on black Americans like we're like the scumbags of the earth and like turn their noses up at us and be racist towards us. And then all of a sudden, when they feel like they're in some type of debacle or they need some type of help, now they're looking at us like, oh, we're supposed to be standing in solidarity. We're all POCs. It's like, well, first of all, more importantly, there is no country that you can go to on this earth where you don't have to have some type of visa or there's not some type of immigration law. So if you're in a country, any country, illegally, then at some point you're probably going to get caught and you're probably going to be deported. So why wouldn't America be any different? And my thing is this, like, if you're burning American flags, but you're fighting to live on American soil, like you're burning the flag like as if you hate America, but you want to live in America, you're fighting and you're upset because you want to live here. Now I can see like if we're at war and you burn the American flag, okay, yeah, that makes sense. And you're on your own soil and you're burning American flags. I get it. But you're fighting to stay here illegally and burning the American flag because you want to live in a country that has freedoms and opportunities that your country is not able to provide you. They're separating families. Families are getting torn apart. It's like, that's what happens when you break the law. That's what happens. Just like if you were to go to jail, you would be separated from your family and you would have to go to jail. It's the same thing. Like you're here illegally. You didn't do things the right way. You let your visa expire or whatever. Just do what you're supposed to do like everybody else has to, and everything will be fine. I don't know. I just find it funny how everybody comes over to this country with their nose turned up against black folks until they need help.
Akon says Africans are better performers than black Americans, and I agree.
No American is going to be better than anybody overseas in the Caribbeans, in the Africa descent locations. Because we got it easy here. These guys just want to stand there and wrap it up and perform, sing it up. These motherfuckers doing 360 spin splits, backflips, bringing out the culture. Man said we a little different. They're definitely completely on a different level different. Saying the same shit I said before I even read what this was. Wobbling pants, hanging half down, bored as hell, half asleep because they high. American artists are dry AF.
Welcome back. Now, this is what I'll say. Everyone is doing well. Black Americans, Africans, Asians, Mexicans, all the minorities in America are all doing well, regardless, in their own capacities. You won't say because an immigrant came into America and is doing 10 jobs, so we should clap for you. It's because all the while those people were busy building that country, you were sleeping. You were actually waiting for them to finish working while you come in and enjoy what they labored for. Do you understand it? It's as simple as that. And so you don't have any right to start comparing yourself with them. While you were sleeping, while you were in your countries, they were working, they were putting in the work. Imagine the work they put in for them to make America the America it is right now. Infrastructurally, socially, everywhere, culturally and everything. These people did it themselves. What's their percentage in America? What's their percentage? That's why I really feel bad when I see people start comparing themselves. Oh, these people can do well more than Black Americans. These people are doing well more than Black Americans. Or you see someone trying to say Black Americans are very, very lazy at this. At this point, if you ask me, they're not supposed to be working. They're supposed to be sitting down in their houses while everything they worked for, their ancestors worked for, feeds them forever and ever, they and their generations. That's how it's meant to be. So from now, please stop it. Don't even start comparing yourselves to them. You've not done half what those people did. So if you cannot be in their shoes, don't compare yourself to what to who they are or what they've done or what they've achieved. Right? Let me stop here. I'd like to see your thoughts in the comments. Right? Why do you think Black Americans are not doing well in America? For me, they're doing they've done well. For me, they should be resting. They shouldn't be doing anything. That's my own opinion. But I would like to hear your own opinion or your own thoughts in the comments, right? I'll be back shortly. Do not forget, it's Global Juice with BJ. I'll see you next time. Bye, guys.